on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse the report regarding the 2026 Council and Advisory Committee meeting calendars as presented by Mandy Pearson, Director of Legislative Services and Clerk, and that the 2026 Council and Advisory Committee meeting calendars be approved.
Any discussion from council? Mrs. Pearson, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I can't believe we're at 2026.
We're almost. All right, I'll call a vote. All those in favor of approving that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to our quarterly report from Jessica Vandenberg, our bylaw enforcement officer. We do have quite a list. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that motion on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor O'Hara. I will ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file bylaw enforcement proactive report, June to August 2025, as provided by Jessica Vandenberg, bylaw enforcement officer.
And I just want to state that I'm really pleased to see that action taking forward. You can see all the number and people involved. And again, I want to still state that we do have bylaw enforcement being well looked after in the town of Petrolia. Any other discussion from council? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to, I have a report from Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities, regarding the boiler replacement proposal for the community center. There is a motion there before you. Again, I'll ask for a move and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities dated September 22nd, 2025, regarding the boiler replacement proposal at the community center, and that the Council of the Town of Petrolia approve the award of the project to Johnson Controls in the amount of $138,742 plus HST.
Any discussion from council? Councillor Welsh. Through me,
Bullock.
Councillor Welsh. Yeah.
I noticed there are a number of exclusions in the contract with them, and I was just wondering that if more expenses are incurred through those things that aren't included in their proposal, or is our capital budget able to cover those?
Mrs. Bullock, would you like to speak to that, please?
Through you, Your Worship, to Councillor Welsh. Yes, there should be some space in the current capital budget to look after anything that may come up that way.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think the 100,000 was budgeted for, the other 38,000 roughly is coming out of reserve. Is that correct?
It will be coming out of, through you, Your Worship, out of other capital lines that are for the community center.
All right. So it's just, okay, that's good. All right. Any other discussion from council? All those in favor of approving that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Again, that'll take us on a report from Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation Facilities, regarding the completed GHG feasibility study for the community center. You have a motion before you. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that on the motion on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor O'Hara. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities dated September 22nd, 2025, regarding the completed GHG reduction feasibility study.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong, it basically stated the cost is roughly $50,000 and we're getting a $47,000 grant. So that's good news. Any other discussion from council? Councillor Welsh.
Through you to Mrs. Bullock again. Is our ultimate goal with the community center net zero? That was quite a report. That was several cups of coffee.
Mrs. Bullock, would you like to speak to that?
We are currently working with SEMA. We'll be working towards getting better. Net zero, if you saw the last stage to get to net zero, was installing a whole bunch of solar panels. So whether that last stage is attainable, we'll have to work with the engineering firm to see if that, but we're going to certainly work at getting better at reducing our greenhouse gases.
You're okay with that, Councillor Welsh?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hyatt, go ahead.
I guess mine is, what's the next step after the report? Like, where are we going, or
Okay,
what do we
Mrs.
do
Bullock,
now that
would
we
you
have the
address that,
report?
please?
Yeah, through your worship to Councillor Hyatt. So we are working along with staff and with SEMA to apply for the grant that is part of the FCM program. So it's a grant, it's open application. There's no specific grant deadline. So we just basically go off that feasibility study, and it works in phases, and we kind of apply as we go through. So we'll be working this fall to work on submitting an application on that.
Councillor Hyatt, are you okay with that?
That's great, thank you.
All right, thank you. I guess any other things from council? I guess I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. We'll move on to water wastewater. We have a report from Mr. Mike Thompson, Director of Operations, regarding the municipal drinking water license renewal 10-year capital plan. And I'll ask there's a motion before you. I'll ask for council to put that on the floor for discussion. I need a move and a second. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor O'Hara. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive the report of the Director of Operations dated September 22nd, 2025, regarding the MDWL renewal 10-year capital plan, and that the 10-year 2025 to 2034 water capital plan for treatment and distribution be endorsed by Council, and that the endorsed 10-year capital plan be provided to the Ontario Clean Water Drinking Agency by the clerk for inclusion with the municipal drinking water license renewal application.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any other questions from council? Mr. Thompson, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll call Councillor Hyatt, go ahead.
My comment is just on the plan. In the plan, there's a stacking of contingency for the OCWA capital plan. There's a 15% contingency built into their plan, and then we're adding another 15% contingency on top of that. From my understanding of the plan, I think we should correct that before we submit it, if that's a true statement.
Mr. Thompson, would you like to speak to that, please?
Yes, through your worship, I think Mr. Charlebois would probably.
Mr. Charlebois, go
Through
ahead.
your
Yeah.
worship, thank you, Councillor Hyatt, for catching that. In the big picture, it's not much money, but I'm not sure if we've submitted yet.
No.
Okay, yeah, we'll be glad to do that. Yes, thank you.
Okay with that? All right, thank you. Any other questions from council? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to the second opportunity for the public to address council. Don't. Seeing none, we will move on. I do have under other business, I just want to read this. This is the my mayor's direction regarding the 2026 budget. Council has received a copy to be presented to the mayor and the two additional members of council who will be participating in the budget process along with myself. Pursuant to the powers extended to the head of council under section 284-3, 284-16 of the Municipal Act 2001, I, R. Brad Loosely, Mayor of the Town of Petrolia, hereby direct the Chief Administrative Officer Treasurer as follows. To prepare the proposed 2026 operation budget and the 2026 capital budget of staff's best recommendations following budget and strategic plan best practices. Present the staff proposed 2026 water and sewer rates at a public information session as outlined in the procedural bylaw, and that was done tonight. Present the proposed 2026 staff budget to my budget review team comprised of Deputy Mayor Field, Councillor Clark, and myself for consideration. That the mayor's proposed 2026 operating budget and 2026 capital budget, as reviewed by my budget review team, be made public and sent to all members of council by November the 5th, 2025. The members of council be advised that the staff are available to respond to any questions or comments on the mayor's proposed budget until November 25th, 2025. That the clerk call a special meeting of the council to be held at 5 p.m. on November 25th, 2025 for the mayor to hear any council proposed amendments to the mayor's proposed or the mayor's team proposed 2026 budget. And then we'll move on to our next item, which is, it was moved by Councillor Hyatt to amend bylaw 38 of 2022 basketball nets. And this was a notice of motion that was provided on September 8th, 2025 regarding a meeting of council. Councillor Hyatt, do you want to speak to that before I ask for a motion?
No, I think in the report from the bylaw enforcement, you can kind of see where this is coming from. There's probably, I don't know, 10 or so notices kind of in the north west section of town where this was rolled out, I guess,
Yeah.
in terms of bylaw enforcement. So a few of the families have come towards to me and hence the motion that's brought forward.
Okay, would you like to move that motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll need a seconder for that. Seconded by Councillor Welsh. I'll open it up for any further discussion regarding that motion. I will ask the clerk to read that so everyone is clear with that, please.
Certainly, whereas section 2.f.1 of the Petrolia bylaw 38 of 2022 prohibits basketball nets being placed on boulevards. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the town of the corporation of the town of Petrolia make an amendment to bylaw 38 of 2022 to permit basketball nets being placed on boulevards seasonally to align with the winter parking schedule and which meet encroachment clearances as outlined in section 7D of the bylaw.
Thank you, Mrs. Wells. Mrs. Pearson. All right, any discussion? Councillor Clark.
I can't support this change. We've already put money out. Maybe Mr. Thompson can elaborate a little more than I can for damages that have happened as a result of municipal vehicles striking basketball nets. As a person that frequently pulls a large vehicle through town, if there's vehicles parked on the opposing side of the street, it leaves little room for the vehicles passing in the opposite direction to possibly strike those nets that are sticking out into the street. I really think that, you know, turn them sideways and play on the driveway, play with them, but get them back off the street when you're done with them, which I think is how the bylaw is written.
Yes.
I think it's important that we stick to that. I get that it's inconvenient. It's also inconvenient for a passerby to have to pay an insurance deductible because of damage to their vehicle from one of these. And I would ask maybe that Mr. Thompson elaborate a little bit on the items that he knows of where this has already been an occurrence where we've had some damage done.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Clark. And before I open it up, I will ask Mr. Thompson, would you like to add anything to that, please?
Yeah, thank you. Through you. Last summer, I believe, we had an instance on 6th Street where the chipper hit a net, not the chipper itself, but the box on the back of the truck hit the net, which caused the basketball net to topple over and hit a vehicle in the driveway. So that was one instance. The only other instance was a trailer actually clipped a basketball net in the Kells Ernest area. I forget exactly where. Mrs. Pearson might be able to elaborate on this, but they reached out to town hall and I think we asked them to go through, talk to the resident that had the basketball net out. It wasn't, didn't involve the town or anything like that. And the only other instance, I think Chief Cousins could maybe elaborate, but I think they had maybe had an instance this spring, perhaps, I don't know. So offhand, 3 instances in reference to basketball nets. And so that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mrs. Pearson, would you like to add anything?
Certainly, as our organizer for insurance claims, I have in the last 3 years, processed 3 that were directly involved in the municipality and 1 where the person actually did go to the resident and wished to work that out on a civil basis. The most recent is damages to one of our fire apparatuses. April?
Yes.
Please go ahead. Yes.
Through your worship. Yeah, there was a fire truck that struck one on Kells or Ernest somewhere. It was hanging out probably 30 inches or 3 feet onto the roadway, and they didn't see it. It wasn't quite dark, but it was just getting dark at dusk. And yeah, so it the mirror hit it, and it actually the basketball net fell apart. But as going down, it did scratch the truck. But we haven't done anything with that. But
Thank you, Chief Cousins. This bylaw was just put in effect, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
To give you through your worship, the background on that, yes, there was a motion brought forward in 2022
Okay.
requesting that amendment be made to the bylaw to reflect it as it currently stands so that it is not permitted.
All right, I'll go back to you, Councillor Clark.
And I just want to say, they're very difficult to see in the dark, especially in streets where there's trees overhanging. And this isn't an exclusive bylaw to Petrolia. There's a number of municipalities across Ontario that have the same bylaw and are struggling with the same issues with being struck by garbage trucks and fire trucks and snow plows. And so I think it's important that, yeah, we encourage the kids to play, but I think that it's also important that we get those back off the street when they're not playing.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Clark. Any other discussion from council? I think Councillor Hyatt, you're next, and then I'll go to Councillor Welsh.
Sure. So just in terms of the data to support this, right? A basketball net that's projected onto the road occupies about 0.25 square meters of space. If I move 2 vehicles onto the road so my children can play basketball into the street or someone else does similar, it would occupy, let's say, 20 square meters of space. So you could roughly fit 80 basketball nets in terms of the space that's required to fit 2 vehicles on the road, right?
Okay, thank you.
So what is worse, having 2 vehicles sitting on the road?
What's worse is having 2 vehicles on the opposite side of the road and a basketball net sticking out over the street that you got to navigate around.
Okay, all right, we'll stop there. Yeah, okay, I'll go to Councillor Welsh.
How does the current bylaw read? That reads none of them on the road at all at any time, not even while they're being used?
Mrs. Pearson, can you address that, please?
I can, your worship, I can attempt to pull it up.
Yeah.
It doesn't permit them from being there indefinitely. It's similar to the boulevard. They must move it back. They can bring it back forward. The bylaw enforcement officer, when they do visit, does mention having it kind of turned opposite on the boulevards. So you may still be on the boulevard property, which is another bit of a conundrum because you aren't technically able to put any kind of item on our boulevard. So that could be enforced under our tidy yards bylaw of having an item on the town boulevard that isn't supposed to be there. I believe that because of that right to play, we've never asked for that to be enforced. I've never received that direction from council. It's just to have it directioned towards a driveway.
Oh, so it can't be facing the road at all, not even while they're playing?
Yes, it just needs to be returned back when it's not in use.
I'm not familiar with these. Is that
Right.
the issue?
Like kids can't move the basketball nets.
Okay.
Like there's literally,
Stern.
children are not
All right.
strong enough to move a basketball net. So hence moving it in and out from the road is not possible.
All right. I think, is everyone clear though on this vote, on this request? Do I need that read again? Okay, I'll ask Mrs. Pearson to read that again, please.
Whereas section 2.f.1 of bylaw 38 of 2022 prohibits basketball nets being placed on boulevards. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the town of Petrolia make an amendment to bylaw 38 of 2022 to permit basketball nets being placed on boulevards seasonally to align with the winter parking schedule and which meet encroachment clearances as outlined in section 7D of the bylaw.
Okay, and we have a mover and a seconder. I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that bylaw, that motion? To opposed? That's tie. I'm gonna oppose it too. Let's keep it the same. So that's not carried. We'll go on now to, we have a motion from Councillor Wells for construction of the new fire hall. A notice of motion was provided on September the 8th. I'll ask Councillor Wells if you'd like to speak to that before I get a motion on the floor to discuss that proposed motion.
I would like to propose what I believe is a friendly amendment, but I will take the clerk's discretion. If possible, to also add it to the development charges bylaw if and when it is appropriate. When it is opened.
Through you, your worship.
Yeah,
We could certainly add it to the development charges by law. I don't believe we can until there's actually something in place for us to add a value to the
Yes.
bylaw to then adopt
Yes,
it. So
when it's appropriate.
So
Yeah.
at that time, any member of council could bring that forward and we could amend the bylaw to include those figures.
I would have felt a little
Is
more
that
comfortable.
friendly?
Oh, sorry.
That actually not amend, we wouldn't have a number. So we would at
Okay.
that time, through your worship,
Yeah.
build that into our development charges bylaw as a
Okay.
new schedule that would come forward with the updated asset.
Okay,
Okay,
you're
that's
okay with that?
yes.
All right, I would have been a little happier to have this come from the Petrolia North Enniskillen Committee, but I think this is still a good idea. You're moving that. I'll need a seconder. I'll need a seconder for that motion, please. Seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Whereas the Petrolia North Enniskillen Fire Department Fire Hall is approaching end of life and in fair condition, as per the Asset Management Plan 2022, Section 9.2. Whereas we have planned upgrades over the next few years with an annual capital requirement of $34,000 per that same plan. And whereas plans for a new fire hall do not appear in our longtime financial plan, and as only upgrades and maintenance of the current Petrolia North Enniskillen Fire Department Fire Hall are in the Petrolia's Asset Management Plan. And whereas the town of Petrolia is growing and we need to plan for the increased population and structures that meet our needs and levels of service in the long term. I, Liz Welsh, move that council have a new Petrolia North Enniskillen Fire Department Fire Hall incorporated into both the Petrolia Asset Management Plan and the long-term financial plan for the town of Petrolia. And that a plan to replace the current fire hall begin immediately, including exploration of location, examination of other recently constructed fire stations for best practices, ensuring that any current required / planned upgrades can be reused in the building, and ensuring the Petrolia North Enniskillen Fire Department capacity is adequate for future population growth and building construction.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any other comments or questions from council? Councillor Wells, go ahead.
I would just like to comment that in the concise asset management plan that I thought was going to be on the agenda tonight, it's listed in poor condition now, I believe.
I would direct that, sorry, your worship, I'm not aware that I would direct the asset management plan to our treasurer, sorry.
Mr. Charlebois, go ahead.
Yes, through your worship, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the report from 2021, 22 said fair.
I'm referring to the concise asset management plan,
Oh.
though, that Councillor
Okay.
and I reviewed that I thought was going to be on the agenda
Oh.
tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the difference is between age-based and
Condition.
condition-based
Yeah.
assessment. So I think that's the two differences from my understanding.
I believe so.
related to the fire.
that's correct.
Okay. All right, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Can I
Oh,
make one
sorry.
one
Go ahead.
friendly amendment if possible to stricken from the last portion of the motion, the comments that states ensuring that any current required plan upgrades can be reused in a new building.
That's a friendly amendment, yes.
Okay, that's okay. I'll need a seconder for that amendment then.
Okay.
Are you clear?
It's a friendly amendment, your
Yeah.
worship,
Oh,
so
we
if
could-
the mover agrees.
Oh, well, then that's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
So you're okay with that?
The
All right.
reason I request this because we have a report coming back. We don't
Yes.
specifically know what the report is going to say related to the decontamination facility
Right.
for the existing fire hall. So I think it is important that we try not to handcuff ourselves to saying that it must be reused if a new hall is built.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Hyatt. We're all clear with that. That's okay. I'll call the vote then. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us on to the consideration of the bylaws. I'll have asked for a motion to have the bylaws read a first and second time. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Clark. All those in favor?
Everyone, just amend,
You want to do it now or at the third reading? We can do it now. Councillor Hyatt, go ahead.
just the commencement date in bylaw 28, 2025. I've been told we need to update it to October 1st, 2025.
Yeah, so it's starting October the 1st.
I've been-
So Okay.
I was not aware of that, your worship, so I
Okay.
apologize that I did not have that information.
All right, we'll make that change. So thank you for that. So I've got a motion for a first and second time, and we've just brought to the attention that the start date will be October the 1st. All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving them a first and second time? Thank you. That motion carries. And I'll ask for a motion to have the bylaws read a third time, signed, sealed, and numbered. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Clark. And I will ask the clerk when we're ready to read those bylaws a third time, please.
For that date was
No.
October, I'm sorry, that date
October
was,
the 1st.
okay.
Yeah.
And that is for bylaw number 28 of 2025, being a bylaw authorizing the execution of an agreement between Lambton Rural Childcare and the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to provide a facilities license of municipal property described as 4184 Petrolia Line, commonly known as the Bank of Nova Scotia Building in the Town of Petrolia, for the use of administrative offices, be read a third time and finally passed. That bylaw number 29 of 2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 38 of 2023, a bylaw to provide for rules governing the proceedings of council and committees and the conduct of its members, be read a third time and finally passed. And that bylaw number 30 of 2025, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia, to confirm the resolutions and motions of the Council of the Town of Petrolia, which were adopted up to and including September 22nd, 2025, be read a third time and finally passed.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. And just again, back to council, as you noted for that Lambton Rural Childcare, that I hope you realized it did show the 2,100 a month, which basically at the 2025 rate would be $25,200 a year. All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving those bylaws a third time? Opposed? That motion carries. And a motion to adjourn would be in order. Moved by Councillor O'Hara, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia, be adjourned to the next regular scheduled meeting to be held on Tuesday, October 14th, or at the call of the chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and have a great night. Oh, and I do want to mention, because we will be meeting on Tuesday, happy Thanksgiving to everyone if I don't see you. And again, buy local, buy Canadian. Somewhere I've got my Canadian pin on, if possible. Thank you.